My name is Christopher Watson, and I will be presenting to you today the person who I admire and the person who I look up to. The people that I admire are my parents. When I was born with a condition called cystic fibrosis, and what it does, it affects the lungs and the pancreas, and it is a very it's a deadly disease. It can kill people. When I was born, they only give me a life expectancy of 18 years. So you can just imagine how hard that was on my parents to hear that when I was born, right? But when I was born, 3 days after I was born, I had a surgery because I had a blockage in my intestines. Just before that, my mom was always she had a feeling that something was wrong, even in the later, like after probably 6 months into her pregnancy, she had this feeling that something was wrong, something wasn't right. The doctors kept saying that she was crazy in a way, that no, the kid, your son's okay, he's healthy. And then when they diagnosed me, and they said that I could only live to 18 most likely, at that time there was really nothing, no treatments really, nothing that could help my mom, how to help me with this. So she had to learn pretty much everything on her own. My dad, it was very, very hard on him because you can just imagine I was afraid to lose his son and everything. You know, when you love someone a lot, you're afraid to lose them, especially if they have a deadly disease. But yeah, so that was just like the beginning of how much my parents, they always fought for me, especially with my health and stuff. Getting older, I didn't have too many problems when I was younger with my health, but eventually I did occur some problems. But back in 2008, when the recession, something that really didn't affect the family, but it could affect it a lot bigger, was that in 2008 my dad lost his job because they were downsizing, the recession, right? A lot of companies downsized. They didn't want to have as many people on. They wanted to save money now because they weren't making as much. And there was times where, my mom was working 2 jobs just to try to have food on the table, to pay rent and to pay all the stuff. But there was times where we didn't have heat for about a month, 2 months. Like we just used, we had electricity still, so we used actual heaters. We just dress warm, use blankets, stuff like that. There was, I think it was about 3 months that we didn't have hot water. And what we used to do to take showers, and this is it's funny, I always laugh at it now, but we would put it in a pot and we'd boil the water, and then we'd go to the shower and slowly pour it over our head when we need to clean ourselves. I find it very, I look back and how our family could have been completely lost and everything, but I was still going to school. I didn't really, my parents, they told me about it, but they didn't put as much importance on it. They always told me they just prioritized making sure I was fed, putting food on the table, stuff like that. And it showed, I can just imagine all the things that they were going through and stuff like that, how strong they had to be to just do that, especially because I have a sister also, so we're 2 kids, right? And how do you tell your kids that you don't have heat? How do you tell your kids you don't have hot water? All you want to do is provide for your family, and just to keep the family intact and to be positive, to persevere through it. It was very incredible for me, and it showed a lot of strength in my parents, which further on developed in me, and really I look up to them. I'm very proud of them, and how much they've done for me my whole life. Going into further leaving, even during high school days, I went to hospital a lot. I went to sick kids a lot. My parents would always, at least one of them, they would alternate. They would come and they would actually sleep at the hospital and be there, make sure I was well fed, everything. They would always be there for me, side by side, dealing with my my health issues that I had to do. Even growing up, starting in college too, where I did went to a different hospital now, St. Mike's, where they always were there during all the procedures, operations I had to do, all the times where I wanted to give up. They were there for me to lift me up, to say, no, we're gonna persevere, we're gonna push through, it will get better. Just those times, they just almost like they carried me, and they just, they try to take all the burden away from me, and they try to take it and do it themselves almost. And the food wasn't the greatest there. They always brought me food so I would actually have something good to eat. Even though sometimes I was there for 3 months, 2 to 3 months, and like a couple times a year like that. So it was very, very long, and it got very depressing at times because you're stuck in a hospital bed and it's not the greatest. But my parents always made sure to come visit me, come support me, everything. Like kind of just talking about how like now and stuff like that, like present, it's like I look back at it and I say like I can just imagine how hard it had to be for my parents to live with a son who has a disease, and they don't know from today to tomorrow if your son will still be alive. Like to live with that, it's got to be very, I would say, scary. It would be easy to be fearful of the future because you don't know what's gonna hold. It gotta be a scary like situation but they always seem to rise to the occasion. That anything that happened, they always made sure that we were good, me and my sister. They always made sure that we were as healthy as we could be, that we were put in the best situations, even though the situation at home wasn't always the best. Like we had problems, like like I said, no heat, no hot water, stuff like that. They always made sure that we were a family together, and it kept us strong together, tight family, And I like my parents. They just had a 30th anniversary. They're the 30th anniversary back in August this year, and like it's very something I look up to because especially in today's day, you don't see too many. You see a lot of divorces. You don't see a lot of marriages very working out or like lasting long. And yeah, like my family, like my parents, it wasn't always like, it was always like, oh, pretty, like everything's perfect, right? They had to go through so much, but they stick together, and with that love and strength, they provided for their family. They provided everything that their kids needed, even when they didn't have enough money to pay for certain things. They provided what the kids needed. They provided me to eat and to go to school, to do all these things, play sports, everything. They did everything for me. So that's who I admire. The person I looked up to is God, because without God, God's love and strength, my parents would have never made through any of this. He gave them the ability to not only endure some painful times and to get through it, but also to like almost like a flower, After they endured these painful times, they bloomed into something better. They learned from it, and they were able to not only help me but help other people. And that's something you can never change, you can never take back, you can never. It's just something that's so beautiful to me. Also, I thank God every day that He gave me parents, perfect parents for me, that He knew what I would need growing up, especially living with the disease. He knew I would need strong and parents that would be there for me, a father whose love is endless, a mother whose strength is unmatched. Not too many people as strong as my mom, and it's so that's who I admire, and that's who I look up to. And thank you guys for watching.